On today's episode, we had my new friend, PSA Collector, who loves collecting some of the newer stuff, some of the stuff from his childhood, but really knows a lot about the industry. And he says that there are no experts, but I think he's one of them. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. I definitely learned a lot. I grew up such a fan of sports memorabilia and sports cards, and I'm really excited this show is both going to highlight that as well as the awesome entrepreneurs that make it all possible. Let's do it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back into Talking Shop. On today's episode, we have a very special collector, the one and only PSA Collector. Welcome in. Thank you for being here.
Hey, man. Thanks a lot for having me on the show. I appreciate it.
First question, how did you get started collecting sports cards? Everyone has their own story, but what is it for you?
As far as I can remember, some of my earliest memories involves me going through countless numbers of cards. From what I can understand is my grandpa gave me a box of baseball cards. It was like a 1991 Topps, junk wax stuff. And he told me not to open it because one day it's going to be worth a lot of money. So as a kid, I believed him, but I also understood what a lot of money meant. Even as a kid, a lot of money meant a lot to me. So I started thinking, well, if these baseball cards are going to be worth a lot of money, I'm going to start buying other baseball cards. So I didn't touch that box that he gave me. I started buying my own stuff. So that is how I got into the baseball card collecting. Is my grandpa gave me the box, and he meant what he said to me meant a lot, saying that it was going to be worth a lot one day, and it was like a gift that he was giving me. So I took that to heart, and it's always stuck with me. So I guess that's how I got started, is a gift from my grandpa. I get asked a lot, who do you think is going to be like the next LeBron or the next Jordan, or
Right.
Do you think this guy's worth investing in? Do you think I should be buying his cards? Do you think his cards are going to go up? And I'm like, and I honestly, I can't look at every single, basketball, baseball, football player. So I'm just like, no, man, do your own research. And if you like them, if you like watching the dude, then you should be collecting them. It's so be a collector first. And like you said, a lot of guys do like watching LeBron and did like watching Jordan, or, like me, Luka and Trey. I like watching those guys. And that's what got me started to actually buy their cards up, is because of their performance on the court.
Got it. And do you personally evaluate some of the guys that you're buying up just purely by watching them on the court?
Yeah. And I look at their stats too. There's a website, basketballreference.com,
Yep.
which is, and I compare their stats within like the first 2 to 3 years it's not fair to compare to like Jordan because the game's different now. But other recent modern rookie cards that have had a lot of hype out the gate, if their cards aren't doing as well, the rookie cards aren't doing as well, then why should this player, his rookie cards, be doing well if they have similar stats? Or if the new guy has better stats? It's hard to really explain unless I'm showing you like screenshots. But right. Yeah, I definitely go off their games. So I watch a lot of games, and I watch a lot of YouTube. So that's how I compile the games, is watch a lot of highlights. And however, that's not what I go off of. Like I watch Luka games, and I watch the Trae Young games. I'm in Knoxville, so I'm out of market, and I'm like blacked out. So I have to wait for the game to be played the next day. So it's hard to watch the Atlanta Hawks, but I do watch the Luka as much as possible, full games, and that's how. And it's tough to watch all of them. So you're going to be picking winners and you're going to be picking losers. You can't watch every single game. You have other things in your life you got to do. So when it comes to investing, that's where it gets really tricky. If you do it full time, then maybe it can be profitable. Like you can do it as a full-time job. And a lot of guys are asking me how they should, how they can do it full time. And to me, it's just, you need a lot of capital and you need a lot of time, free time on your hands if you're not doing it full time. So, like I said, yeah, got to watch the games, and you got to look at the stat sheet, look at their resume and how it's building.
For you, were there any other outside influences on you turning like your collecting passion into in parts a hustle?
Yes. Yeah, for sure, dude. So I got married in 2017, and I had my first child in 2018. After I had my first child. Well, actually, as soon as I found out my wife was pregnant, I started looking. I said, I'm not making enough money. This child is going to cost a lot of money. We need more money. So I started looking online, and I knew I had talents. I had, like freelance talents, graphic design, website building, all kinds of stuff.
Awesome.
So I started looking at how to utilize my talents in other ways to make additional income. And that's when I looked on YouTube and I found Gary Vaynerchuk. And I said, from the first video I started watching him, he lit a fire up under my ass. And I started doing everything he said to do. I'm at work. I'm a graphic artist. So I'm at work. I got headphones in all day, every day. And that's all I listened to it was like 2 years straight. Gary V and some other guys, some other influencers. But for the most part, it was Gary Vaynerchuk. And then one video I watched, he talked about how he was a kid, he was flip sports cards. And that really ignited it. A connection between me and him is how he used to, because I didn't know he used to do sports cards. But once I found out what he did, then it was like Gary V fan from that point on.
I have a weird feeling that sports cards are gonna get cool. And I think you have to look for that. My marketing company's behind the brand Fila, and some of its marketing in 2-3 years ago, it wasn't cool, and now it is. Understanding how to make things cool and understanding how cool happens.
Yeah, for me too, I definitely had a similar thing, from a Gary standpoint. When I was 16, my uncle showed me some of his content, and similar thing, was very young, eager and whatnot. Started looking more into it, eventually met him, and then interned for him a little while later. But yeah, they're all awesome people, and those are good guys.
That's crazy to me. I can't even fathom thinking about, being in the building or the same room as Gary Vaynerchuk. It's like he's like one of the biggest role models and idols for me, and I don't have many, so it says a lot.
That's awesome, man. Where do you think the industry of sports cards is going to go over the next couple of years? What do you think is going to happen? Because this year and last year alone, to me, and I'm just getting back into it now, has been insane.
Yeah, it's been mind blowing, to say the least. In the next couple of years, it's hard to say. It all depends on how. Okay, so we have Panini and we have Topps, the two biggest card manufacturers to date. Like that's the only people that are making cards. And what I think they're doing is they're trying to get people to go digital for some reason, and I'm not sure anybody's going to want to follow that. So I see a big influx in digital cards or digital push. However, I don't think that's going to be the case. SGC is coming up. BGS is losing its rank. PSA is kind of stuck. So I think they have a big, huge factor in the market. The grading companies, there might be a new company coming out. It's exciting. That's all I can say. It's exciting and it's unknown. And, collectors now, so the old school guys, they think that they know where the hobby's going, or they'll make comments and, say that me and other subscribers that we're like dead wrong and we don't know what we're doing. I'm like, bro, you didn't even collect. This is all new. It's unfolding as we're
right.
It's evolving. Like just because you collected back in the 70s and 80s and 90s doesn't mean to today's market.
Right.
I think it's funny when guys try to stake their claim and say that they know the hobby better than anybody else, when in fact nobody does. There's no expert, and that's really what got me started on just putting stuff out there, realizing that there's no like right or wrong way to collect.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think all of that is amazing. And I love that there's starting to be a little bit more diversity in the industry, because the way it used to be was all like these old rich guys, buying all the nicest cards. But now it's cool to see that like some of these kids that were flipping expensive sneakers are now into like the new Prism like products, and some of the older guys are getting interested in some of the newer products as well. And then like the UNIs of the world who are just enjoying the process and the industry and the content around it. I think it's all really great.
Yeah.
Now explain to me, because I only partially understood it by that, but why PSA over BGS?
In my opinion, PSA is number one right now, obviously because of the resale value, and BGS is lacking in a lot of departments. their population reports suffer. It's not intuitive like PSA's. PSA offers their fugitive ink, their technology, their lighthouse labels. It's much more. They're much more proactive with doing out of the box ideas and like enhancing the grading card market. Whereas Beckett, I think, suffers from that. SGC suffers as well. However, they're trying to grow. They're trying to get their name up there. So, I mean, like I said, PSA and BGS battle, it's always going to be forever a debate, and it's up to the collector ultimately. What cards do you like better? What cases do you like better, Beckett or PSA? I like some cards better in the Beckett cases, but for the most part, when I'm selling a card, I get the most value out of a PSA case. And for the most part, when I get my card graded like this, Jordan, I want it to be in a PSA case. It's just clean and, I don't know, attractive to me. So I like PSA better. And that's also, it's, you know, that's what I went with from the beginning. So it's going to be too hard to change my name to BGS Collector or something like that. You know?
Yeah, you're definitely right about that too. I saw a Jordan there. Real quick tangent. Are you excited for the upcoming MJ doc?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, a lot of guys, his cards, Jordan cards on the market right now are blowing up. And from that documentary, a lot of collectors think. And there's also Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman cards are increasing slowly. Like this card, the Metal Universe, shoot, man. A PSA 9 was selling for like $130 a couple weeks ago. They're up to like $900 already.
No way.
Yeah, dude, blowing up. I made a video on it yesterday, actually, just because I was doing my research and I saw the prices just like on fire. So I busted a video out real quick, and people started going up and buying them even more. Like you couldn't even find them. And that's his cards across the board. Like you can't. Jordan cards are so on fire right now. People are even buying, like I said, Pippen and Rodman because they were with him during the time. And it's insane. Like it's so insane to see the market react to something like this. I'm not sure how long it's going to last or if the prices are going to come back down. However, if they do, it won't be by much. It's going to be sustained for a long period of time because it's Jordan and, you know, he's the GOAT. So it's not going to be going down anytime soon.
Are there any good Jordan buys still out there, or is it all way too high right now?
No, man. That's another thing is my video I made yesterday was also, so this is what I do. I look at these cards. I look for these cards that are getting ready to blow up, and I either hit it or I miss it. So if I miss it, it's out of my price range. So what I do is I show my subscribers what to look for next. And that's important because you want to buy low and sell high. Like I always say, you never, unless, I mean, sometimes if it's a Jordan card, you got to buy high, but then you sell it higher. So not Jordan cards, there are a lot made, and it takes your research, your homework to figure out which ones are being overlooked, because a lot of them are. And like I spend a lot hours on hours doing my research and looking before I make a video or before I do any buying, because I want to be certain that I'm putting out the correct information and I'm spending my money correctly. When it comes to Jordan, you can't really go wrong, honestly. But there's tons of cards being overlooked right now, like always. And that's never going to change. The market's going to steadily go up, and some cards take off while others stay down. And then some go up, others stay down, but they're always consistent, for the most part, going up. You just got to catch the ones that are getting ready to take off. So in February 2019, this card, the Jordan card, sold for $350,000. And what got me to look into that card was the precious metal gems card that's serial numbered out of just 10. And that serial number card out of 10 sold for $350,000. And I wanted to look for a more affordable option, which led me to that base card. And I started to, so what I did was I reacted to the market. I saw the market taking off, and I looked at his most expensive card and went from there and started looking for more affordable options. That's all in the video. Yeah.
No, that's a really interesting strategy. Do you think that could be applied to modern cards, or not as much?
So let's say a 2018 Optic Luka Doncic hollow started busting out the gate and selling for like $2,000. Okay.
Yeah.
Obviously, a lot of us can't afford that $2,000 card. So what are we going to do? We're going to start buying the base card, or the other. And if the base is too expensive, then buy the non-optic. I call it the cardboard. This the regular Don Russ brand. You want to buy that, because if and I try to tell these guys, if this card starts going up, all the cards are going to start going up. So don't be afraid that these cards are low in value, because I've seen it time and time again. Those low value cards are going to slowly start picking up. And if all you can afford is a $10 card, buy that 10. If you see the other cards taking off, buy that $10 card. I'm telling you, it's the exact scenario happened with the Luka cards. If the cards get too expensive, start looking for the next best thing, because if the one card goes up, they all are going to go up. And don't be afraid to buy PSA 9s, because I've seen it time and time again. The PSAs go up, the PSA 10s go up, and right behind them are going to be the PSA 9s going up in value. So even the PSA 8s, if it's, buy the card, not the case. If it's all you can afford, then so be it. I've bought plenty of PSA 8s and plenty of PSA 9s and flipped them and made a decent profit, specifically the Lukas and the Trays more recently. But yeah, don't be afraid to penny pinch and, sit back and watch a little bit even too. Like, you don't want to spend all your money as quickly as possible. That's it. I know it's very tempting to, but sometimes you just got to wait and see what happens and then react.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of guys get burnt by going all in too late, or not too late, too early.
Yeah, and going in on two players. And I was actually thinking about this the other day, when people always ask, like, who's the greatest of all time, right? The greatest of all time to the majority of people usually is whoever has the most attention on them right now. So it's very easy to say LeBron's the GOAT, because LeBron's on national TV, 70 times a year, and he's talked about on social media 365 days a year, whereas Jordan hasn't been in the spotlight for 20 years intentionally. How are you expecting him to defend himself night in and night out? It's not. So no. I think that's one. But my question here is, do you look at things like, so let's say Tim Duncan's getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. Now's a great time to buy the old Tim Duncan cards. Are those real things, or am I making that up?
No, man, it's funny you brought him up, because I've actually been looking at Tim Duncan a lot lately, and he has an impressive resume.
Very.
To the point to where, and I look at his cards, the values of his cards, and I'm blown away by how cheap they are. Not his go-to, most famous rookie cards, but the stuff that nobody else is looking at. They're so cheap. And yes, that is a good point, and I highly recommend doing it. If that's taking your homework to the next level, which is, if you want to go all in, you should. You should start looking at factors such as Hall of Fame inductions or Hall of Fame induction potentials, and study the stat sheets, the statistics, compare them to other players. Kevin Garnett is another guy I've been looking at. Tim Duncan, Kevin Durant, Jordan. Obviously, in my generation, is considered the GOAT, because I grew up. Everybody said he's the GOAT. He's the greatest of all time. However, if you look at his statistics versus LeBron James, it's a very good debate. LeBron is still playing. If it wasn't for the suspension this year, his numbers would be even more incredible.
Number 4.
Yeah. So
debatably,
for guys my age, it's obviously Jordan, and LeBron is still like a rookie in our minds, because he was drafted in 2003, and Michael Jordan, totally different. It's always going to be a debate, but LeBron James rookie cards, or even his second or third year cards, I've been looking into those, because they are highly undervalued. And just like Michael Jordan's second and third year cards, I think that LeBron's are going to be very competitive with his rookie card year, and great investments. I haven't really told anybody that yet. I should do a video on LeBron's second and third year cards.
You should do a video on that. That's a great little insight.
Yeah, so those second and third year cards for legendary players, definitely. If you can't afford the rookie card year, which LeBron's rookie card year cards are just mind-blowingly expensive, then go for the second and third year cards. Great pickups, great options for low budget investors. for a long-term investment, in my opinion. If you like collecting LeBron James, anything will do. 2019 stuff, 2018, 2013, or sets from years with other notable, like Giannis. So LeBron James hollows from Giannis rookie year would be, in my opinion, worth a little bit more than a LeBron rookie, not rookie card, a LeBron hollow from a year where there's no notable rookie cards making a statement in the game. So
True.
So it's kind of tough to decide on what years to pick if you're just trying to invest in LeBron other than his rookie, like low budget investing. But like I said, any LeBron James rookie or any LeBron James basketball card is a great investment if you're a LeBron James fan.
How do you feel about card shows versus buying online? Which do you prefer?
Oh man, card shows to me, I wish there were more, but being in Knoxville, I don't ever see a card show advertisement or anything, so I don't ever go to them. I've been wanting to go to the National, however, I've been so busy, so I'm all online. It's because it's convenient. I get the best deals online. I'm not afraid to haggle, lowball on the initial best offer, and then go back and forth. Whereas if I'm in, person to person, I would probably buck home and be like, all right, I'll give you the $50, However, on eBay, I can easily just walk away or not even say anything.
You're savage. Just shut the computer. Man,
yeah.
I'm out. Yeah. Well, you're definitely, I'm not doing that in person either. We're way too good at people. We have too much respect.
Yeah, or if I'm selling a card, like I'm not afraid to, mark it up 25%, because even though I know it's way, the price is way over, it's way overpriced. I'm not afraid to do that. However, if I was running a table and I had a $200 card and I was trying to sell it for $400, I'd feel like I'm, people wouldn't even want to acknowledge me. They'd be like, "What is this guy even doing here?"
A couple of last questions here. What cards are most personally valuable to you? What are your favorite cards?
My favorite cards are, honestly, man, stuff like this. The stuff, number one, the stuff that I buy before everybody else does. So I like being ahead of the competition. That's one of the things that drives me, is buying up cards before everybody else says they're trendy. So I think that's challenging and it's very difficult to do. So I like buying those, and I'm going to always, hold on to that card and consider that a win, because I beat everybody out the gate and to the thing. Secondly, I like buying the stuff I admired and wanted when I was a kid, which are the 90s baseball cards, even the autographs, man. You can get Chipper Jones, Frank Thomas, Juan Gonzalez autographed cards, authenticated and slabbed for dirt cheap, man. Like back in the day, you couldn't even, I remember seeing those in shops and just being like, wow, look at that Chipper Jones autograph. Now you can get them for so cheap. So I love collecting those. I love collecting the 90s rookie cards. I love collecting the oddball stuff. So the Topps Tiffany, the Fleer Glossy, the Score Glossy, the cards that were printed in limited sets. They weren't mass printed back in the 90s. So they are collectible and rare to a sense when found in gem mint condition. Also, like the sets that have story, like the Desert Shield, the Topps Desert Shield. Cards with like a story, like the 1989 Fleer Bill Ripken. I've been wanting to buy one of those, or the error cards, like the early 90s error cards, like the Frank Thomas. I don't have one. They're way expensive, but I would like one. Just stuff like that. Those are the cards I actually, find value in, where I would have a hard time selling, as opposed to the modern day cards. If I bought it for $40 today and the market's at $200 next week, I wouldn't have an issue selling it for $200 at all. Right. Like, here you go, man, it's yours. Yeah,
you have no emotional attachment to it, which I think is everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I'll even give them away. I do giveaways, and I'll say, I picked this card up for $20. It's now worth like $100. I'm giving it away, no problem whatsoever. But if I found a Desert Shield PSA 7, Barry Bonds for like $30, man, I'd have a difficult time giving that away, even though I only paid $30 for it. I know it's a Desert Shield or, Topps Tiffany or like a Griffey rookie or a Barry Bonds rookie. So stuff like that, which some might not think is valuable. However, to me, it's valuable.
So that Jordan card that you were just holding up, what makes you love that card?
The fact that it was the fact that it was the underdog. Nobody was paying attention to these. A month ago, people were, but then all of a sudden the underdog came out and is up on top now. Especially like the lower grade stuff, they're going for big bucks. Well, not big bucks, but they're going for big money compared to what they were. So that's why I like that card. It's all beat up. Like it's there's whitening on the corners. There's there's all kinds of issues on the back. I got a PSA 6. I paid like $54 for it, and I can probably sell it for right now. I could probably list it for $120, like a couple of days later. So
that's crazy. What are the PSA 10s going for?
Like I think some sold for like around 2,000 to 2,500.
Whoa!
And they weren't selling for that like a month ago. They were selling for
crazy to me too. And I'm curious your opinion on this because I've even been looking into this, and I can just ask your advice. But you can still get some Jordan autographs, usually UNC jersey ones, for $1,000 to $2,000, BGS 9, PSA 9 grade. Do you think that's undervalued?
So they're cards or they're actual jerseys that he signed?
No. He signed the cards.
Oh, the cards.
It's in a UNC jersey because of the whatever deal they had.
I don't know. I'd have to see the card in order to give you an estimate on if it's a good deal or not.
Yeah, but I think it's all so much fun, man. There's so many so many different variations, so many different products, so many different things to take into account before doing anything.
Yeah, you really got to do your research and your homework. And I remember when I first started really going hard into, okay, let me figure out these sports cards, because there was a time in my life when I didn't know what was what. Like I didn't know what was cool from in the 90s or the 80s as far as the baseball, basketball, football. I didn't know where the money is going to, if they're even worth anything. I knew what cards were like cool and were cool, but when I first started going hard in this I would say about 3 years ago, I didn't know what was what. So I have been doing nothing but research ever since. Like I'm scrolling eBay, I'm looking on PSA, and I'm looking up in different sets, trying to figure out what's rare, what is truly rare, and what is, once realized how rare, is going to go up in value. A lot of stuff, it's unknown that just how rare it is, and a lot of that that plays into that is condition. So it's there's just so much to digest and understand. Like you can approach the hobby in so many different ways, and it's just crazy, and it's exciting and fun because, like I said, there's no expert, there's no right or wrong way to do it, and anybody essentially can come into the hobby, start looking into things, and be like, hey, dang, this card is going to be, or I can see this card tripling in value in a week, or this player his cards are going to be going up.
Yeah.
There's like anybody can do it. There's no expert. And then that's what's exciting. And I try to tell people that, the younger guys, and it's just crazy to see everybody jumping in and, working together and having fun with it. And, just like adding new things. Like people comment on my videos or on my Instagram posts and stuff, and they teach me stuff. Like I don't know if they know this, but they're teaching me things all the time. Like they'll teach, some guy will say something or give me a card recommendation. I'll start looking into it and say, dang, he was right. This card is blowing up. So that's where I'll get a lot of my video topics or my ideas from, is the community. and I try to reciprocate that and give it back. So it's like I said, it's fun, exciting, and it's crazy how many different ways you can approach it and do it.
Yeah, man, I love it.
Right or wrong way.
And like my favorite way of looking at it too is, so there are like two sides of it for me, right? They're like, you love collecting, you grew up collecting, like it's just fun. And then the second side of it is, it's the closest thing you can get to buying stock in a player.
Yeah.
So it really is like what that would look like if there were stocks for players. It's just buying their best rookie card is buying the best stock in that player. And I think that's a whole fun side of it too.
It's exactly how I look at it as well. And I never really, I guess, acknowledged that. That's how people look at it. It's stock in a player is that individual card. So you have a piece of that.
You have one share of LeBron James stock.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it.
Except it's physical and it's way doper than an actual stock.
Like a digital number on your computer.
Right. Who cares about that? I want a PSA case in my hand.
Yeah, for real, man. And that's another exciting thing about it is the fact that we get to hold these and look at them at different angles and stuff. And it's so much cooler when you have them in person, which is the collector inside of me is a lot of guys is getting it in your hand and then enjoying the beauty of the card. That's what I like to look at, is just all the different, plus I'm a graphic designer, graphic artist, so I appreciate the artistic things that they put into a lot of these cards and the designed aspects and everything. So, and I appreciate that as well. And then the player photos, all kinds of things.
Yeah. My final question for you here, and it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you again. What's your best piece of advice for young collectors and for our viewers?
Yeah, man, absolutely. I get this asked a lot. And, well, actually, no, I don't get this asked a lot. I think about this a lot. If you're entering the hobby, if you're trying to become a collector/investor, like I said before, guys, you have to start collecting what you want to do. It's simple as that. Don't start collecting a card because you saw, some guy on Instagram post the card. Like, in my opinion, a 1989 Upper Deck Ken Griffey Jr. rookie card. That's one of the worst investments you can make. However, a lot of guys on Instagram and YouTube are promoting that card. In my opinion, that's wrong way to look at what you should be collecting. And you should start with what you want to collect with, and then do your research. Now, if you want to collect, non-legendary players or players with not a crucial part of the game, like football cards, if you don't want to collect quarterbacks, then chances are you're not going to be investing very good with your money. You're just going to be collecting, which is cool. If you don't want to sell your cards long-term, great. However, if you want to collect and invest, you get to pay attention to the valuable cards in the past and take that and put it towards the future. So it's very crucial that you pay attention to the hot cards from the past and then put that towards the future if you're not sure what to do. And if you're not sure what to collect, who to collect and invest in. So like I said, do what you want to do and not what everybody else is doing, and collect first and investing will follow. Okay. So yeah.
I appreciate that. Now, last thing here, where can people find you best online?
YouTube, man. PSA Collector. Just type in PSA Collector anywhere. YouTube, Google, Instagram, Facebook, and I'll pop up.
Boom.
Yeah.
Man, thank you so much again. It's been a blast.
Hey, thanks, Buster. I appreciate it, man. Love your show. Love what you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you once again to PSA Collector for coming on the show. Make sure you are subscribed. Make sure you're liking all of our stuff. And make sure you're tuned in for future episodes because we have a lot coming up. This was definitely a really fun one, though. So hope you're tuned in for more.